Good evening and welcome to the latest edition of the Halcyon podcast. I'm your host, Lorne Risley, and on this occasion, I am going to go and do a play-by-play of the recent Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight. Why? Two reasons. Number one, I didn't actually stay up to watch it. I was shattered from the day at work, so I recorded it and watched it the day after. Secondly, since the fight has happened, it's been a weird series of events afterwards where people seem to be vindicating the decision on all sides that this was, in fact, the showing that it should have been. I disagree, and as the fight progresses, hopefully my point will be made, but effectively, it was a night that it did about as good as it could. I mean, the fact of the matter is, they spent the whole 2-3 month period hyping up the fact that this fight was going to make so much money, it was going to break every box office record, Yet two things. Number one, they still had a pay-per-view crash, which is a good thing for them because it means that a lot of people bought the fight when perhaps they were worried that they wouldn't. And then you've got the fact that the gate may have broken records, but the only reason for that is because the ticket prices were insane value considering the situation. They didn't actually sell out the arena. There's something like 3,500 tickets still left to be sold, with most people opting to watch it on closed circuit television in or around Las Vegas, or at least the Strip. So, as we come into the fight, what's important to note is at the weigh-in, Conor McGregor was 153. He was close to 170. I hear, or rather I read, that he was about 169 pounds when he entered the ring. He did look significantly bigger, which is a fair point. Mayweather. See, that was always a tricky thing with this fight. Mayweather didn't look a tremendous amount bigger from the weigh-in. He looked about the same, to be perfectly honest. McGregor didn't look as ripped, obviously, because he hadn't, he basically just. It's weird how galling he looks when he's dehydrated to that extent. It's crazy how much they balloon up in just one night. It's absolutely insane. In fact, I remember someone once asked me something along the lines of, how do you reckon, is it possible to lose 10 pounds in a week? And I said, nah, it's impossible. And if it is, it certainly isn't fucking healthy for you. So how the hell can it be healthy for someone to put on the better part of 17 pounds in less than 24 hours? It's ridiculous. Nevertheless, we come up to... So if anyone's actually watching this fight as I'm commentating on, which is a good idea to do, literally as we speak, the referee's giving instructions to both fighters, facing McGregor, specifically citing things that pertain to MMA, i.e., I'm not going to wrestle with you, and I'm not going to pry you apart. Fair enough, but as you'll see later on in the fight, a lot of these threats directed to Mayweather really were hollow, if that. There we go. He's not going to grapple with him. Okay, fair enough. McGregor, very, very serious. Mayweather, so relaxed, so chill. Put out the scene where the low blow is. McGregor barely moving. You can tell he's not nervous, but you can tell already he's trying to figure out the best way of trying to land early. Now, what the thing with this is, and what you'll see in the first round is, that McGregor opens with a very, very wide stance, and his traditional MMA stance, it's worth pointing out, with his left hand cocked back and his right hand out long and tall to try and gauge distance and bat away jabs and crosses. This, however, was something that he didn't maintain throughout the fight. So, as we get prepared to watch round one, they line up, and there we go, there goes the bell. Mayweather comes in, a little cross foot there, which is weird. So like I say, little cross there, swings into the midsection across the guard. Mayweather getting low, giving him a little cock to the say-so. Right, okay, cool, what else you got? Flicks inside the guard with the right hand to try and set up the left. resets, switches stances. Now, this is the thing with McGregor, is that he likes to claim he's ambidextrous, so he does switch stances karate style. Crossing in and out, breaking here, backs off again, gauging the distance. Now, I think already there he's a little bit frustrated because he's not able to break the guard. I think he thought it would be easy to break. So, see, again, wide stance. Mayweather just letting him have it. I haven't seen him throw much of anything so far. Still not throwing. There's that jab through the midsection. Still not doing any damage. Bit higher. McGregor's chin is so exposed. You just get the impression that a boxer that was looking to finish it straight away could have landed quite easily at this bout. But anyway, nevertheless, Mayweather throws one other punch. So that's maybe two. Again, just waiting and waiting. Just letting McGregor be the aggressor. Standing such a wide stance, such a flat stance as well. If you look, especially in this bit here, you can tell he's trying to keep it narrow, but at the same time, it's still just so wide. There's a first missed punch from Mayweather, which was a good dodge from McGregor. And that's something that people aren't really giving McGregor credit for, is that his quickness and reflexes were really there. It was one of those things. See, now Mayweather's throwing a punch and McGregor's trying to keep the crowd invested by putting the hands behind the back. But again, it's interesting to note that whenever you see someone do that, they never do it in range. They always back up well out of range before they even consider doing that, which is a bit sad because it's a flamboyant show of things that's kind of stupid. Nevertheless, back with another left hand. And now they're starting to bat. Mayweather's even starting to flick a few back at him to get that hand out of the way, just to make it harder for McGregor to gauge that distance a little bit. So there's another cross. Now what you're going to see in a few minutes, or at least in a couple of seconds, the first of some rabid punches, and you're going to see that a lot in this fight. The referee's going to let a lot of rabid punches get away, a few shots below the belt, and a lot of clinching happening that really shouldn't be. But nevertheless, in a few moments you're going to see McGregor land a really rather impressive uppercut considering the nature of the opposition. I think, there it is, right there. Now what you see there though is that Mayweather is actually the one that takes the next step forward. He takes a step back to reassess, realises it didn't hurt him, and just steps forward again. Really wide post back in there, which shows absolutely no fear. He knows that he can stay on the inside of the ring and even stay inside the pocket without even engaging. He's actually at what they call the fourth stage, the fourth area, whereby you throw longer shots. In the pocket, however, is where fighters tend to trade hooks and slightly longer straight shots. But anyway, as you can see here, McGregor has been the aggressor in this round. He's in my opinion, he won the round. When I watched this without any context and didn't know the result, I thought, do you know what? That wasn't a bad round for McGregor because he'd landed because he'd been the aggressor. However, looking back, how many punches did Floyd throw? He actually threw nothing whatsoever of any consequence. The only punch that I think is of note in the whole round was the uppercut, for two reasons. Here it comes. Right, bang, uppercut. Look! The right across the dome did nothing, just grazed him. And McGregor didn't capitalise. There it is, bang, right there. And then this punch, because the shoulder's in the way, you have to admit that it can't connect in the way that it really should. It has to go straight and you have to transfer the energy nice and smoothly. But because of the way Mayweather raised his shoulder, it grazed over and sort of rolled and lost a lot of its momentum. But what's important to note at this point is Mayweather is still not sweating. There's still nothing in it. Right, now, so what you're going to see now is, so McGregor bouncing up and down now, weirdly enough. Now his stance is still very wide, okay? Give it to the middle of this round before it starts narrowing up a little bit because he's getting tired and tired. Bouncing on his toes. Mayweather just trying to goad him in. Big miss there. Rabid punches. Now you can't do that in boxing, especially to the back of the head. And it's, see, look at that. You can't cross your fists in boxing. That's a ridiculous move. First of a really good strong shot from Mayweather there. McGregor starting to realise the size of the task at hand because he hasn't landed anything of consequence yet. His jabs aren't really setting up anything of consequence. They're not doing any damage in of themselves. He can't get to the body because he's so far away and because his stance is so high. Now you start to see his stance get a bit narrower. He's starting to rely on the shoulder a little bit more because why? He's getting tired. That stance has a habit of keeping your body really wide, which is fine, but unfortunately it leaves you open for body shots. Now the thing with body shots is with most fighters in boxing, they catch you on the outside. Because boxers' lats are so well developed and because their abdominals are so well developed, it's really difficult to actually make a boxer hurt because of those punches. They have to build up over time. so that you suck the wind out. That makes it harder for you to get your breath. And then see, there's a shot to the midsection, right into that middle section. I think I can't remember what it's called, but it's that membrane that separates your lungs from the rest of your body that winds you. That when you get hit in that section, you go, can't breathe. It's the first of one of those sections. Now Floyd is really good at dodging these, or rather evading them with the use of the elbows. And his guard is really strong so far. It's really centralized, and it's really effective at just drawing out these punches from McGregor and drawing him in. Now, as you can see, McGregor is realizing how futile these jabs really are. They're not setting up range. And, first the clinches. Okay, now this is the other thing. McGregor really didn't make use of the clinch. He really needed to make more use of the clinch in this fight, because especially towards the latter parts, he just didn't seem to have any energy left, and that's when you need to start being more evasive, and you need to maybe start slowing the fight down a little bit. Nevertheless, as you can see already, the movement has gone from his feet. He's not bouncing up and down anymore. He's much more flat-footed. He's backtracking an awful lot. And when he's coming in, see, look, grabbing by the midsection, you can't do that. Now, in fairness, Mayweather shouldn't be turning his back on an opponent. That's a little bit churlish. There's your atypical Mayweather dodge. Slick all the way back, makes his opponents look absolutely stupid. And there it is again, there's another grab there. See, this is the thing that a lot of commentators I mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast. A lot of commentators are saying, in fact, the one that pissed me off the most is Skip Bayless, saying that he was robbed. Really? The amount of rabid punches he's gotten away so far, and the amount of clinches he's gotten away with so far that he shouldn't have done, is ridiculous. And we're only in the second round. Now, again, at the end of the second round, I feel Mayweather did not do enough to win that round, simply because he didn't really do anything. Now, the reason why, and it's come out since, that only one judge gave McGregor more than one round. The other judges, so look at that, the stare across the ring, just looking at him, knowing that he's blowing up. See, only light perspiration there. McGregor breathing heavy already. Look at it. Heavy breathing. Smiling, but I think he realises now that he's not landing anything of consequence, and he's blowing himself up as a result. It's ridiculous. This is the second round. We're 6 minutes in, and it's not like he's throwing some particularly hard punches either. This is ridiculous. Nevertheless, we come back into the rabid punches argument. Skip Bayless is saying that he was robbed. Well, the fact of the matter is that so far McGregor has fought dirty in the wrong ways. He's not closed distance, and he's not put Mayweather up against the ropes. Now, he's trying to set him up going up against the ropes there. First backhand punch. You can't do that. You can't do the hammer fist punch. The referee does a terrible job in this fight of protecting Mayweather from that. Now, most people argue, oh, well, Mayweather doesn't need protecting. No, but it is a boxing match. The rules need to be observed. Otherwise, what's the point? And McGregor, I think, realised that the hardest part of the glove is there, and that's why there, another hammer punch, back of the head, not allowed. But anyway, the movement in his feet is pretty much all gone. He is the one that's backtracking the most, which actually means that, technically speaking, McGregor is not the aggressor at this point. And he's not throwing enough punches to be considered the aggressor off the back foot counter-punching, which is what he's trying to rely on here. McGregor, in his UFC career, has always been a counter-puncher, which means that he relies on his opponent being the aggressor. However, most of his aggressors are used to throwing a lot more looser punches with less of defense, because, of course, the gloves play into the situation. Now, what you'll see here is Mayweather is starting to find his distance. There it is. You see that miss. He knew that he could get in and out. And again, you see how quick that is. Protects himself. So quick. Even at 40-odd years old, Mayweather is just... his reflexes are absolutely ridiculous. Again, missed. Hammer punch to the back of the head. Again, the referee. What does he do? Splits him up. He warns him, but come on. You need to do something about it, ref. You need to stop that. Anyway, swaps the feet again. I don't know why. He's swapped back to his original stance, but again, you'll notice that it's so much narrower than when he started the fight, and he's breathing heavy. The mouth is open. The head movement, it's just not there right now. He's moving his hands, shuffling his hands to make himself look active. That jab is so ineffective because he's too far away. He's not even anywhere near in range. Now, the thing is, here comes Mayweather. He's starting to find his range in return. Playing it back and forth, realising that he's got McGregor pretty much where he wants him at this point, in that he's expending a lot of energy needlessly without any real gain. There's another punch to the midsection by McGregor. Mayweather pushing forward again. You see there. Now, he's defensive only when McGregor throws the punches, because he knows that he's out of range anyway. He's not going to take the charges, though, and he is going to let McGregor, who, if you notice, is so front-footed in terms of where his weight is. Look, this is a perfect example, this angle right here. His weight is so loaded onto his front foot. His left foot is completely off the canvas for some of these punches. Another hammer punch. Ridiculous. Some of the crowd, you notice at this point, is starting to get antsy because it's starting to get a bit of a joke, the fact that he's getting away with these hammer punches, which aren't, again, ironically enough, aren't doing that much damage. Now, as it comes to the back end of the third round, you notice that McGregor really isn't sure about what punches to throw at this point. He's guarding his midsection because he knows he can take the chin punch. The weird little swerve at the end as well. Really, really odd. At this point in the fight, I felt McGregor had done everything that he could do. At this point, he'd thrown a few combinations, but they were very rudimental. They were too far out of range to actually do any damage. So at this point, the referee comes across and starts mentioning the fact, look, he's hitting him on the back of the head. These rabid punches are still, and he's being pulled. But the worst is yet to come. This is the crazy thing about this fight. The referee is going to allow more of this stuff to happen. Now, McGregor, at this point, is properly... Look at that. Back of the head. By the way, if anyone is wondering what feed I'm watching this on, it's on the Sky Sports Box Office Live feed, purely because, again, I ordered it off Sky Sports. So look at that little front jab. McGregor smiles. And that replay shows it best, because he should have stayed in range. If he'd have stayed in range, that second jab could have set up a beautiful left straight, or at least a hook to the midsection. But because he's got this obsession with staying on the outside, right, okay, now this kind of fighting here, that should have been okay. He's indicating that it was low. I don't think it was, but never mind. Put him against the ropes and trade with him. Get to the midsection. Keep it close. But because of his MMA training, he has to stay wide and he has to stay at quite a distance. It's crazy to me that he didn't close it. He didn't make enough use of the ropes. At the beginning of the round, he should have pressured him and kept him there. Now, Mayweather is starting to get the clinch working for him rather than McGregor, which is odd because it means now that his midsection is starting to take a bit of a battering, which is what ultimately a lot of people said he should have been doing against Floyd. Keep it tight, close the distance, put him against the ropes, pressure him, and then make your mark in the middle rounds. Don't blow yourself up just yet. Now, that was a good left hook from McGregor. Caught him good on the chin, but just still not doing enough damage, and he's the one who ends up backing up. Now, good cross-section there from McGregor. Mayweather fighting back, though. Absolutely brilliant. Mayweather trying to find his range. Gets a right. Doesn't quite land it, though. That guard, stiff, true. Keeping moving forward. The referee's still looking, because here it comes again. Look at this clinch. Look at this. When did you ever see this in boxing? It never happens, because McGregor's training is too strong in MMA. Tries to make use of a bit of agility there. Oh, Mayweather finding a good counter there. McGregor clearly out of energy at this point. Even at this point. Look, mouth open. Struggling to find the shot there. Even though it has to be said, and this is something crazy, Mayweather is just coming forward. There's not a lot of lateral movement here. Caught him again with the left, but again, no real conviction in the power. The jab. See, that kind of jab right there, if he'd made use of a much stiffer, straight jab on the inside, he might have had a very different outcome of this fight. Doesn't take as much energy to throw, connects a lot more, hurts a lot more. But because of these distance throwing shots, like a heavyweight, and because he's not throwing the left with any conviction, he's not actually gaining anything with this jab. He's moving back onto the ropes. Now, Mayweather using his superior head movement. Good guard. Jab, not quite finding its way through. That was a little bit low from McGregor there. Another low one from McGregor there by the looks of things. What is that? Little tap, 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 tap. Banged from the left. And now McGregor is the one who's up against the ropes, getting shots to the midsection, shot to the chest there from Mayweather. Oh, you see, backed, and then right across the chin. That right hand is the quintessential Mayweather move, and you hate to see it in fights these days because you've seen it enough for fighters to hopefully know that they should be looking to avoid that now, especially southpaws, because they've got the perfect counter for that. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the fourth round at this point. Now, McGregor, realising it's coming to the end, is putting on a bit of a showing, and not quite. No, there's a really interesting show of dominance from Mayweather in a round or two, but we'll touch on that when we actually get to it. Do you know what? I have newfound respect for commentators because I have no idea how they keep their mouths dry for the entirety of a fight. I just had to pause it there. You might have noticed a jump to get some fluids in me. Bit like McGregor here. Taking a breath, breathing really heavy already. God, when you're already looking up at the lights thinking how much longer is this going to last, you're never in a good sign. Now look, a lot of this... Look at that. Mayweather is just on another planet when it comes to dodging shots. He's just a master of angles. There it is. Bang! That overhand. Just slightly grazed him with that shot. Nothing really of consequence there. Right, here it comes. Here it comes. Bang! That's the money shot right there. That's the one that's on all of Sky Sports and every news outlet at the moment because the bogey is hanging out of his nose. Anyway, coming back to the fight, excuse me. McGregor. He mentioned in his post-fight that he likes to think he gets a second win. What he was finding, especially in his bout with Paulie Malignaggi, and let's call it what it was a bout, it wasn't so much a sparring match, is that he was getting a second win around the 11th round. But that's crazy to say that you were out of energy from, where are we now, round 5 through to 10, and that somehow you get better in round 11. That's absolutely insane. However, it has to be said, he's throwing a few more punches here. The first look up to the time. He's only 40 seconds into the round. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the clinching game is getting ridiculous at this point, with Mayweather getting clearly frustrated with him, saying, "What's wrong with you?" McGregor is in that phase now where he just wants to get back on with it. Another clinch. Because like I say, it's just tired. Now, he's almost handbag slapping him there rather than punching. He's trying to find a way through. But if you look at the nature of these punches, they're just not thrown with any real conviction. There's a sweet shot to the midsection there from Mayweather. He's going to start upping his game now. And what you have to remember at the end of this is that 60-odd% of Mayweather's power punches landed in this fight. 60% and over 53% of accuracy overall. Now, the main thing that people are saying is that Conor McGregor landed 117 shots total, which is more than most boxers. The thing that they forget to say is, how many of those are actually power punches? How many of those are actually intended to hurt him? Because again, look at this backtracking. This is ridiculous from Mayweather here. Sorry, from McGregor there. Mayweather actually tracking him down. That was a low shot there from McGregor. Now the referee separates him one more time. Pushes Mayweather a little bit there, which is a bit odd. Straight into the clinch. Straight into the clinch. Mayweather's not even bothering because he knows it's just a waste of energy. Brings him in, leans on him a little bit. Straight in there because the punches just aren't hurting him. Another straight. Setting up these punches, not going to the midsection at all. I don't know what, at this point, I honestly don't know what McGregor is looking for here. He's not batting the guard away. He's not going to the midsection to try and help McGregor, to help Mayweather suck his wind out of his system. And he's not going for the chin. So, he's clinching again, getting pushed from the elbow, clinching from behind again. This is so odd. So odd. I've never seen this in boxing before. I've seen a fair few fights in my time and it's probably happened. That was a really good shot there. Left-handed as well. What you have to remember is that was a left-hand strike. Missed there. And again, see Mayweather getting a little bit pissed. Getting a bit pissed off there. Threw a hand there because of the shot through. The guard protecting him well there. Look at that. Such a quick strike. It's like a snake just in and out before you even realise what's happening there. That was a bit low there. Crossed left and batting away the jab now. So this is interesting from Mayweather, just batting away that jab, kind of going, no, you're not hitting me. You're not even going to find your distance now. I'm not going to let you set. I'm going to push forward. Now, McGregor, flat-footed, cross there. Here it is. There's that little push. And instead of reacting, McGregor just walks away. Such a show of dominance there from Mayweather. At that point onwards, I genuinely felt, even when I didn't know the result of this, that it was over. I genuinely thought Mayweather has already won. However, what I couldn't anticipate, because even at this point, prior to the fight, he was breathing heavy. That was easy to see. But he was still throwing a reasonable amount of punches, even though I didn't realise again while I was watching this fight just how much he was backing up. Now, the referee's going to have a word with him here about the rabid punches again and the clinches. But again, there's really nothing to combat this. At this point, the team are asking what's going on out there because they're just not landing anything of significance. Look at this. Nothing in terms of instruction from Mayweather. He's already planning his celebration at this point. Mayweather really lumbering towards the middle of the ring, takes a bit of a wider stance to his rope. Now, what you're going to have to look out for in this round is how many times he looks at the clock. Round 6, okay? Round 6. Now, let's see just how tired he gets in this round. 10 seconds in, light taps. Mayweather, again, just trying to find his range by batting away that jab, getting inside. Look at that. Guy in the crowd is understandably shitty because the referee doesn't stop it at that point. Wait a full 3 seconds before he actually does anything about it. Ridiculous. This referee's doing a terrible job of this. Not too sure that was actually mutual respect. Again, I think it's just Mayweather batting away the jab. Just to, again, that wonderful use of the shoulder roll there. Pushing forward. Now, Mayweather is starting to look to find his jaw more. See, there it is again. He thinks he's worked his midsection enough. He'll work it again a little bit, but he noticed that he's setting it up to set up the jaw shot. The reason for this is because at this point, McGregor is visibly slower, visibly more stagnant, and his head movement is null and void. So the only thing left to do is just bring his hands down even further than they already are. His guard is absolutely appalling in this fight, it has to be said. But this is the first time that McGregor really looks in trouble. As you can see, the shots are starting to land with much more frequency. And he's absolutely knackered. No more bobbing and weaving, backwards footed. He's just not presenting anything forward. Nothing really worthy of a defense. No lateral movement, no head movement, no use of the shoulders, nothing. And because he's so flat, look at how flat he is to Mayweather. He's just presenting such a massive target to him. Another straight left there, setting up, trying to swap stances in an attempt to confuse Mayweather, but Mayweather has already swapped his stance 3 times by this point to accommodate for the fact that he's got a much wider target than normal to fight against. However, he has to be mindful of the clinch, and he also has to be mindful of these rabbit punches. Again, lots of shots there. That one put Mayweather off a little bit, but there's a sweet left to the dome. Big clinch there. Now we're into so the thing is my screen's cut off right at the edge, so it's difficult for me to tell, except for what seconds it is. What is Mayweather doing? What is McGregor doing there? Trying to pretend like he's not hurt. Ridiculous. And this is something again I don't think people are saying, yeah, he was out of it, but look at the redness of his cheeks. They're starting to puff. I genuinely think some of these shots really rattled McGregor. The thing I think most people are forgetting is with the Nate Diaz fight, the Nate Diaz loss, is that it wasn't so much the takedown that finished him off. It was him that initiated the takedown because he was rocked with the right hand from Nate Diaz. Effectively, I classify that fight as a knockout victory because he really didn't. He was shaken from his fucking head to his toes after that shot. Oh, see, now he's goading him. Why are you goading him? And then moving backwards. Ridiculous. You goad him and move forwards. Now he's trying to find that range with a jab. Crossing over, pushing forward, missing badly, and there it is. He's just not doing enough to win these rounds now. McGregor is not the aggressor, and he's not throwing enough punches that matter, with Mayweather throwing way more power punches. Look at that, just holding him there, back of the head, clearly punching him to the back of the head, and punching him to the back. Kidney punches as well, ridiculous. Look at that sweet shot. You tell me that didn't hurt him. Ridiculous. Absolutely beautiful right hand. Definitely that one again. Just doesn't throw anything in response. And at this point in the fight, I was thinking, right, there's nothing left to do. Now, I was bracing myself now because, of course, you've got 6 more rounds, which means, of course, you've got 6 rounds of potentially Floyd Mayweather just boxing him. But what you have to realise is that McGregor is actually getting pounded here. He's taking a bit of a beating. Almost non-stop talking there for a few minutes, but there you go. Holding his head in place while punching it. I'm not entirely sure you're allowed to do that, but great response there from Mayweather. Bit of a miss there. Again, relying on the jab. McGregor still struggling there. Carl Froch apparently gave McGregor the first 2 rounds. I'd be inclined to agree with him to an extent. I would say, though, that he won the 3rd round. And I would say that that's only because, again, that Mayweather was tremendously inactive during that point. Big clinch there. Mayweather having a quick word with the referee, of course, because they're best buds. It is Las Vegas, after all. It's crazy how the referee didn't actually play a bigger part in this fight for Mayweather's sake, but nevertheless. See, these punches are just so limp-wristed at this point. So we're into round 7, just in case you're keeping track. 10 seconds to go from the first minute of action. Oh, see McGregor's just struggling here. Look, those shots. These shots really aren't doing anything to prove to me that McGregor isn't being hurt by these. It's a jab. See, again, slap punch.
you see a proper boxer really get his shoulder into that, roll the fist over to be almost horizontal from where your shoulder is, and really get your pectoral muscle working again, bring it across and really land it with conviction. It's just none of that there. They're just really dink punches. I really do wonder whether or not a lifetime of McGregor being used. Oh, here we go. Really good straight right hand there. Good defensive work there from Mayweather. Crossing again. Left hand jab. Pushing him in the face, which again was odd. He's an excellent villain fighter, is Mayweather. Looks strong when he wants to, and then looks like an absolute kitten when he wants to as well. Just suddenly shrinks, becomes nothing. And then when he fights, look, all of a sudden, massive. The aggressor, ridiculous. Anyway, coming back to it, another straight right hand, and these are landing clean as well, right to the jawline, right to the cheekbone. Another straight there. Oh, connects 3 times there. What is McGregor actually ran across the ring? Ridiculous. And he's really struggling at this point. Throws the left. His guard now, he's actually remembered he needs to protect his chin. You want to tell me he's not hurt? He's starting to protect his chin more and more because he's realising that he's actually getting hurt by this. Decent strong. Oh, he's just so out of range. When he gets into range, he does this. He clinches up. He needs to get into range and stay in range. Push him against the ropes. Make some use of your superior upper body strength and land power punches. But he's back. He's got his guard a little bit higher up now and more in a conventional boxing phase. You're not seeing any more of this high right hand cocked left hand thing that you saw in the earlier rounds. And his movement is starting to pick up a little bit. See, oh, that could have been a very easy flying elbow there. Referee again, letting him get away with something ridiculous. Leaning up against the ropes. This is the 7th round now. And he's somehow got to last another... At this point, people are saying he's got to last another 5, but we all know he's only going to last another 3. If that. I think it's 3.5, but nevertheless. Apologies. Again, I have no idea how commentators keep the fluids going, keep it going. Maybe they just don't say enough. Maybe I'm talking too much. Who knows? I don't know. Tony Bellew, that is an absolutely appalling suit. Carl Froch, actually, I kind of like it. I like the waistcoat action. It's real hard. I wish I had a waistcoat. I need to go buy one. There really isn't much more to say at this point, considering that we all know what's going to happen now. McGregor is completely gassed by this point, and he's only going to last another 2.5 rounds. And he's making a half-assed effort to come back into the middle of the ring. Mayweather is the one who's really putting on the action. Now, again, if you notice that Mayweather really isn't sweating all that much. Oh, see, look at this. That is fair enough on McGregor's side, because Mayweather literally turned around, which I really don't like seeing boxers do. It's something I do, and I'm a novice, man. People naturally want to protect themselves when they're being punched in the face and the stomach and stuff. They just turn and protect themselves using their rib cage, which is a natural defense mechanism, I guess. But when you see a professional boxer do it, it's ridiculous. Now look at this. Mayweather is now the one who's completely unfazed by the punching power of McGregor and is perfectly willing to walk forward and eat the occasional shot, which is why people are forgetting that even though, and this is the point I was saying earlier on, 117 punches landed, how many of these were actually power punches? Very, very few of them. And how many of those power punches actually hurt Mayweather? Very few. Because he was willing to move forward and pick his punches, because I think at this point, he sensed he could finish the fight. Lovely jab there. McGregor trying to use his own jab there to bat away. McGregor staying close to the ropes. I don't understand why. It limits his movement and it gives him fewer places to run. Now I get that gives him a wider berth to be able to maneuver, but Mayweather is just so much quicker on his feet at this point. He's just not hopping he's not hopping up and down anymore. The agility's gone. He's not using. The odd thing is he's trying to utilise a very odd variant of the shoulder roll. It's just that his guard, his left hand, is not up high enough to be able to utilise it properly. Again, referee trying to step in, but again doing a questionable job at best. Look at that. Guard protecting his chin because he's just not going to the body enough to warrant protecting his midsection. Look at that. Just leans in. Oh, another hammer punch. Referee really needs to do better. Good left hand there. Right hand cross. Lovely jabs, just finding their range. Ooh, cheeky elbow there from Mayweather. Don't think anyone saw that one. Left hand there, catching McGregor in the face. I'm really looking forward to the next fight when their names aren't so goddamn similar. Canelo and Triple G was so much easier to call. I'm thinking about doing that. Look at this. Oh, look, the wobble there. Just look at this. He's just looking at him, thinking what he can possibly do. His guard is absolutely terrible as well. You can see him just being batted out of the way. First real stumble backwards. Another punch to the back of the head. As a boxing fan, I'm really annoyed by this because you really hate to see it. It's cheating ultimately. You can't punch someone in the back of their head. It's wrong and you shouldn't do it. And yet it seems to be one of McGregor's main weapons. I get people are saying make the fight dirty, but dearie me. Right, so that's the end of the 8th round. We're 2.5 rounds from the end. And dearie me, like I say, if you want further proof that, look at him. McGregor at this point is just completely done. Just breathing so heavy. Another look up, just to remind himself, wow, it's only been the 8th round. For some reason, I'm looking at Jennifer Lopez. Another indication of, look at how many spare seats there are in the background there. Look at it. If you want an indication of just how unsuccessful, relatively speaking, this was from, say, Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao. Who was at this fight? No one was at this fight. I didn't see any celebrities. I saw one dude with a mustache who was in Jurassic Park 2. And a few boxers. Amir Khan was there. I guess that's something. Right, here we go. Round 9. McGregor starting off strong. Mayweather milking that a little bit more than it was worth. Walk him off. Referee giving him another warning. Again, I think the referee was unfair here. Look at that! That was good. That was good stuff. In fact, again, referee should be doing more here. Referee should be saying, no, go to a neutral corner and wait for my instruction instead of Mayweather walking forward. McGregor free to throw a jab in the interim though, clearly weary of the fact that Victor Ortiz didn't pay attention to what Mayweather was doing and paid the price for it. So this is a bit more encouraging for McGregor. Trying to get in Mayweather's face a little bit more. Maybe pay for it with a couple of punches, sure, but you're going to stay in range. You're going to be able to land the shots. No matter. Big right hand there pushes McGregor back. Very poor clinch attempt there, weirdly enough. Again, considering that he's got a grappling background, his guard way too wide. You've got to put your fists in front of your face to actually protect yourself. Glancing left jab there, over the top left hand. Oh. He's such on wobbly legs at this point, and he's throwing nothing really in response. He's so out of it. Look at it. Oh, push. Pushed it there, and again, really got him there. That was a really good right hand. Stumbling, literally falling onto Mayweather there. Looking up at the time, mid-round. Big miss there from Mayweather. Oh, he's all over the place. Referee at this point is actually starting to look at this as if to say, I wonder if this should be a stoppage or not. Big miss there. Strike. Another clinch. Trying to separate it there. McGregor falling against the ropes. Mayweather just picking his shots now, just waiting for the moment. Big left. Oh! Catches him square on the jaw with a left. Another jab. Even Mayweather at this point is starting to throw boxing logic out the window. His stance has completely changed. Guard is much lower because he knows he's not going to throw anything of any consequence. Big right hand there. Mayweather trying to... And this is the thing. McGregor really didn't make enough use of the clinch. But it has to be noted that Mayweather was using that almost variant of a reverse choke, elbowing into his trach, restricting his air. You could see McGregor was really struggling. Hands down by his sides. This is incredible. At this point, I was just in my seat, bouncing up down, thinking, I can't believe this. He's absolutely exhausted. He's got nothing left. He's almost walking with his back to him. Another flick there from Floyd Mayweather. Another jab, another cross. McGregor just trying to hold on here. Last 20 seconds of the round. Pushing backwards. Holding him. Just holding on for dear life. Round 9. And the end is near here, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's the end of round 9. And we all knew what was happening at this point. McGregor was lucky to make it through that round. He is absolutely out on his feet at this point. It's very seldom you'll see someone bouncing up and down like that, stomping and moving forward, unless they're on silly legs. And that's when you caught someone, if someone doesn't know what silly legs. The best example of this I remember is David Haye Valuev. David Haye caught Valuev with a really sweet shot and put him on silly legs. His hands were all over the place and his legs did a little cross, like a little march in place. It was crazy. Excuse me. And because McGregor's stance is so pronounced on his front foot, look at that for a sweet shot. You want to tell me that McGregor wasn't hurt at any point in this fight? Ridiculous. But because he's so front-footed in terms of where he places his weight, the stomps and the strides are so pronounced when he's tired. His shoulders slump, his hands are down by his sides, his mouth is wide open, his gaze is 1,000 yards long. Now he's got the hand behind the head again. I'm not entirely sure that's legal. Just teeing off a little bit here. Again, I think just to try and maintain some distance. Now at this point, I don't know what McGregor could have done in order to try and keep things going. Like I say, because he's not adhering to any kind of fight plan at all. He's not attempting to utilise a particular type of shot or set anything up. He's not utilising the ring for all its benefits, i.e. putting him against the ropes, setting up shots and then teeing off to the midsection. It is McGregor's to lose at this point. Another hammer punch. Again, Mayweather working that midsection a little bit there. Cross to the face. Using that, like I say, variant of a reverse choke. Punches to the midsection there by McGregor. Referee having another word. At this point, the end is near. A big shot there, big right hand shot. Mayweather is absolutely obliterating him here. McGregor is there. Look, he's not even in the ring at this point. Big shot to the right hand, stumbles far backwards, up against the ropes. Another shot, a left hand strike suits him, displaces him there, and it is all over. I can't lie and say it wasn't a great finish to the fight, and I think Mayweather's looking at him as if to say, you all think I couldn't do that. I have to be honest, I never thought he could do that. I genuinely thought McGregor would put up more of a fight than he did, considering the situation as it was, that he didn't even gas. Look at him. No protestations, no nothing. So all this jargon about, I should have said, I wish he'd have knocked him out. He's actually, if you go back, he's pretty much saying, yeah, I appreciate you letting it go on for as long as it did, ref. Doctor, so look, he says he's good, he's just tired. Dearie me. I don't know what he's doing at this point. I think he's looking for Floyd to give him a hug and say thanks for the check, big man. But, dearie me, so look, he just knows. Look at that. I think you have to appreciate the fact that McGregor had fun. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that for the ride that it was and the hype that it was certainly an entertaining ride. And the fight for what it was delivered what it could. I just think it's... Again, I come back to my point. My point of sadness for this whole thing, this whole fiasco, this whole endeavour has highlighted two very important points. Number one, that boxing is effectively dead. I don't want to hear that boxing is healthy. I don't want to hear that people are saying, whoa, I don't know what you're talking about. In Britain, it does okay. And I mean okay. When it sells out Wembley in the right circumstances with the right situations, fair enough, it can make money. But considering that a world championship fight from a British fighter, albeit Welsh, I know we start getting into shades of grey when it comes to that, but a Welshman who was a world title holder was on the undercard of this fight in a virtually empty arena says something. The fact that Tank, this kid who didn't make weight for this fight, is a world champion and no one even knows who he is, says something about your sport. And it's sad because this fight has effectively signalled the end of the genre, because there is nothing really left after this. Canelo versus GGG will be an excellent fight and I'll be partaking in it. It's going to be excellent. Look at these shots here. These replays now. Mayweather and McGregor's over. It's been long over. Look at that stumble side to side. Fist swinging from side to side because he's so knackered. Just dropping his fists. Bang! Big right hook there. Back. And you want to tell me that didn't hurt him? That's not tiredness. That's pain. He felt that. Look at that. Big shot there. Another big shot. Pushes him backwards. Bang. Look at that. At that point, McGregor tries to look at him as if to say, I wasn't tired. But this really signals the end. It really does. Once GGG and Canelo is done, what's left? There's nothing really left in boxing. The biggest draws aren't... Like, the best boxers aren't the biggest draws. This is the crazy thing. Someone like Andre Ward can't draw. Someone like Sergey Kovalev can't draw. Even Triple G can't draw. 300,000, I think, is his best, or around about his best, which is a pitiful pay-per-view rating. And it's not any better at UFC, because at UFC at the moment, every one of their top stars seems to be doing one of two things: leaving for bigger and better things that they perceive from the UFC, or getting done for drugs. Which is crazy. And because their turnover is so high, there's never any time to get any investment in their fighters. McGregor is probably one of the few fighters that anyone has had any time to get invested in a real sense from a casual perspective. And now he's realised, there's probably more money in boxing now. Even one more fight in boxing against someone like Malignaggi wouldn't be a blockbuster by any stretch of the imagination, but I would suspect he would make more money than in the UFC. It's a sad indictment because both sports could have used this platform, the biggest platform they will probably ever have, to promote their sport. Get the younger talent over, get the prospects over with the audience, start telling their stories. Get this audience, this casual audience, who's only going to be invested for this one fight, invested in the future. And they didn't do that, and I'm so disappointed that that's the case. It's sad for me. It's a bittersweet pill, because ultimately the event itself, the hype, the press conferences, everything leading up to it was entertaining as balls, if not a scathing indictment of society as a whole. The fight itself, considering that you're dealing with an inexperienced MMA fighter versus the best defensive fighter of his generation, and we got a fight that was watchable and entertaining. Look at that. The money belt. Oh, sickening, isn't it? The fact that this is effectively the end of this generation. This is it. This is as big as it will ever get. There's nothing else out there for fans. It will take another 10, 15 years for anything of this magnitude to arise again, and that's if they build. They might not build, who knows. If you watched the fight, I hope you enjoyed it. If you watch my videos and my tweets or my posts leading up to this fight, or listen to any podcasts that I was doing covering the event, I hope you enjoyed those as well. I hope that you do stick with boxing at least until the Triple G Canelo fight, because I will most likely cover that. I think it'll be an excellent fight, albeit it has been overshadowed to a certain extent by this, which is a shame, but who can blame you? And more importantly, I appreciate you listening, appreciate you watching if you have. Stay tuned, take care of yourself. This has been the Halcyon podcast, the breakdown, play-by-play of the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Hopefully I won't get copyright flagged for this, who knows. And I hope that you stay tuned for the rest of the episodes I've got coming up. So thank you very much for listening again. I've been your host, Lon Risley. Take care.
I say come give me the drama, like a neck full of diamonds, nigga, that's on my mama. Whoever want it can get it, whoever doubt me is living. See, I've been ballin' on these haters, never seen in the pivot. Say there's money over everything, nothing above us. Like a sweater full of lollipops, your hood full of suckers. This ain't the mafia, but that garage full of goddess. If you check my backpack, you see this shit full of bodies. This ain't a warning, but don't fuck with the best. See, that'll get you pissed on, like pregnancy tests. It's the money team. I can't stop with a milli. I say no homo.